Let's dive into what is SaaS or software as service. Before that, I want to talk to you about Naval Ravikant's four forms of leverage, which is labor, capital, code, and media. So, labor is about hiring people to work for you. Capital is when you have rental property or capital that basically grows by itself. And then comes code and media. Code is software and automation, and then media is what you're basically seeing right now, where I'm creating content and then distributing it on various platforms. So currently on YouTube, where I'm connecting with you, I'm sharing knowledge with you, and maybe you follow my content and you become a part of the community. But the most important thing that I really want to touch base on is code and media. Because code and media is unlimited leverage. There is no cap to the amount of leverage that you can get. So right now, as you can see, I am training data sets. So I'm currently building a SaaS of my own, an AI SaaS of my own, which is an which is let me just cancel this for you, which is basically an AI interviewer, which automates hiring and AI interviews to make hirings faster and cheaper. So that's something that I'm working on. But to train the data sets, I'm doing it with AI. I found data sets and now I'm doing it with AI. So this also comes under SaaS. So now, so let's understand why it's why it's so talked about so much on various platforms. You might have searched this as well. So it's something called indie hackers. Indie hackers are people who've just got fired or who've just started to work on their own business. And it's basically hacking but on indie projects. That's how it all started from, and they've been working on various types of products, various types of SaaS products. And here there's not a lot you really have to do. You really have to find product market fit for your particular SaaS product, and you do not have to raise any kind of outside funding from VCs. And from what I can tell you is, fuck VCs, guys, because it's so hard to reach out to VCs, and VCs only really fund people staying in San Francisco, people with pedigree, people from Harvard, Stanford, and I think there's so many biases, geographical biases, um, that play in funding, right? So that's really not what I really want to talk about. So that's what running a SaaS is. That you're really not so interested in outside funding. I mean, of course, there are a lot of SaaS products which do raise a lot of outside funding, but here it's indie hacking, like a solopreneur. You are just leveraging technology and media to build your own business, and that is literally possible in 2024 because trust me, I could not code. This might all look intimidating to you guys, but I could not code. I couldn't write a single line of code. But what I really do is I just go onto ChatGPT, ask it to give me what the folder structure is, copy paste all the files. If it's Python, it gives me an entire folder structure. I copy paste those files, I run the script. It might sound easy, but there's so much of prompting or prompt engineering, like we like to call it, and a lot of debugging as well, which I completely do with OpenAI, GPT 4.0, and then Claude Sonnet. Claude Sonnet 3.5 is really good for coding, but I would still have to get to that context level. So now when you combine AI or ChatGPT and then find a problem, so it's not a vitamin product, but it's a painkiller product. So that's something that you really have to find, and that comes from finding the problem really comes from going on Twitter, going on Reddit, going on these all subreddits, and maybe even a problem that you found on yourself, right? And I'm not really going to talk about if you really searched for videos, you might get a lot of text to PDF. These are all like very common kind of shitty ideas which no one's going to use it. It's a very very thin AI wrapper, like we'd like to call it. Do not build any of that sort, because you can just be replaced by ChatGPT's next version. And I can tell you from experience, because I've built my own AI SaaS startup and exited in December 2023 for around $30,000. That was a big check for me, and I actually got replaced. That's why I sold it, right? Because some other person wanted to use the code base and build a version of it. But you'll either get acquired or you'll either die if you're doing the literal next version of ChatGPT. Build something that ChatGPT can't do. but again, you need ChatGPT for it. So these are the kind of ideas that you'll have to think on. So another thing is, of course, there's independence, right? So entrepreneurs can control their own desires with freedom to innovate and make their own decisions. It also gives you flexibility, allow you to work anywhere around the globe. I mean, this is the get rich kind of thing. I mean, you should be over all of this, right? Work from anywhere. You really have to put in a lot of work. You really have to put in a lot of deep work, and all the traveling and all of that. It's basically a byproduct of it. Anyone who's showing you the lifestyle is basically selling you a lifestyle. They're not really sharing any kind of value which is useful. So if you're that, just go buy courses or sell courses or do that Ponzi shit. But here we just here to talk about proper code and proper depth of building a product. Now another very important thing is MRR. So MRR is basically monthly recurring revenue. How much monthly recurring revenue is your SaaS making? That's what it is. And then ARR is basically 12 times MRR, or annual recurring revenue. So this is yearly income from subscriptions. Um, Another very important thing is the kind of pricing models there are for SaaS applications. One of them, of course, is subscription models, and then there's pay as you go. But again, the pricing tier depends on how you're doing it, what your cost is, what your cloud's cost is. But right now, as you can see, I've partnered up with Microsoft. I've got $150,000 of Microsoft free credits to run and build anything on cloud. So this is actually helping me a lot because I don't really have to put money out of my pocket, and I'm getting to experiment. I'm getting to build as much as possible and see when product market fit hits. And trust me, I'm telling you, I've seen it. Once product market fit hits, it's just going to blow up. That's what product market fit is. So I think it's really reaching to that level and making your product. I think there's a lot of product led growth and founder led growth that happens. So right now you can see this is founder led growth because I'm the founder, talking about my startup, and that's also product led growth. Your product has to be really good for it to grow itself, word of mouth, and really good customer support. Okay, now let's talk about multiples, which is basically a metric that estimates the valuation of your SaaS. I don't really get what valuations are. People just keep putting all the zeros. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what valuations are. Maybe it's like a simulation thing, which no one really cares about. But again, just coming to SaaS, it's basically either 5 to 10x multiples. That means if your SaaS application is making $10,000 per year, that means your company or your SaaS product is valued at $100,000. And why is this valuation even important, right? Because from what I can tell you is this there is equity. This one important concept that you have to understand is that there is equity. People can buy a portion of your product, and that's a very important thing. I think it's one of the greatest invention of humankind, which is buying equity, buying shares. Because let's say even if you have a $500,000 job that you're working maybe in Google or Netflix, but it's just monthly recurring revenue or salary, and no one can really own a part of you, right? It's just there. You can't. It's not transferable. You can't transfer it to your children. It's not wealth. It's just recurring revenue or just money coming in, coming out. So here we're talking about wealth creation, and that can only happen with owning equity, owning a piece of the company. If you're owning a, if you're owning 100% of a $100,000 valued company, that means it's a big deal, and people would love to buy you out. Like bigger companies would love to buy you out because first thing, they wouldn't want to build the whole product which you are building. It costs a lot of resources, a lot of manpower, a lot of energy. Instead, they just pay you the money, they just buy you out. That's a very important thing there, which actually happened to me with my product Artifin. Though it wasn't making so much revenue, maybe in 2023 there was a lot of AI hype, and it was the code base was really valuable, so it got sold out. And now let's talk about what are the real steps to start your SaaS. So firstly, you have to identify a problem, develop a solution, build your team. Actually, use ChatGPT for this. I'm just going to skip that. And then choosing a pricing model, launch and market, and gather feedback. So let's start off with identifying the problem. So to identifying the problem, you'll have to have faced problems. That means if you're just a 16 to 18-year-old or 20-year-old who hasn't really gone out, worked at a company, you really don't know what problems are. And the problems that you might think are, like very superficial problems, like, a delivery app for this, or Uber for this, Uber for that, Airbnb for this, Tinder that. That's not problems. I mean, to an extent, you can really sell that if you're really good at selling. You can sell anything. Like people sold rocks, right? You can literally sell anything. But again, you have to find a real problem, real value add for it to be long term. So that really comes from doing a lot of research. You can use Perplexity. You can go on Reddit. Maybe if you're a developer, you can build a custom application. That scrapes through internet, finds a solution, and gives you all the ideas. So just take a note of all the ideas that you get in your mind. I have this notes app, Apple Notes app. I just keep writing ideas, all these ideas every day that I get. And after that, when you think, okay, maybe I can build this, or maybe if you see a big company has funded that, that means there is a problem to solve, right? So you can double down on that. And ChatGPT says building a team, but I think that's useless. If you're starting by yourself, just do it, man. Just code by yourself. Just build a website by yourself. I really couldn't even build a website before. I use Wix, Webflow, all of that, but this is a completely custom-made website on Tailwind.css, and like good developers I know said, okay, maybe okay, that's a good website, right? I mean, this is a good website. I completely built this by myself, so and also building whole dashboard by myself, the whole product by myself as a complete non-coder. It does take time. It's not as easy as okay, I just prompt it once and that happens. But again, you have to keep doing it. You just have to keep hitting and hitting until you get you get the work done. It's just that, right? I've heard Denzel Washington say that if you stick around a barbershop long enough, sooner or later, you'll get a haircut. So it's just about how hungry you are, and how much you really want this. So that, and also choosing a pricing model. So the couple of pricing models, are subscription based, freemium. That means you just offer it for free, and then maybe then for extra features you ask them to pay. There's a pay per use. So let's say if you have like ChatGPT itself, if you're using its API, you're basically doing pay per use. That's something that you can do, and you basically have to align the pricing model with your target audience. I think this comes second. I think the pricing model you really know when it gets to the market. So I really don't know the pricing model of my product yet, but let's wait till it hits the market and see, and let's see the response. But I do want to price it on the higher end because that's the kind of product that I'm building. And launch and market. So this is something you really have to work on, because right now with the tools that are available, anybody can build a product. Trust me, anybody can build a product if they want to. But what not everyone has is distribution. So you need distribution. You need to figure out distribution, or just cold emailing. You're launching on Product Hunt. Creating viral content, creating informational content, building trust. Trust is a very important factor. If you trust someone and you'd want to buy from them, right? Not a lot of people talk about trust factor, because we work on trust. Societies function on trust. When there is trust, there is transactions happening. Like, would you trust your friend with money? I mean, if you're not, I don't think you should be friends with him, right? And then gather feedback and iterate. I think that's how it is. You have to keep gathering feedback immediately once you launch. Just keep emailing them. Just ask for feedback. Incentivize people for giving you feedback. Take that feedback, iterate. So these are the things I've learned from YC, Y Combinator, Stanford videos from Sam Altman, and some from my experience as well, and a little bit of ChatGPT as well. So yeah, I think this is how you build a SaaS, and also requires it also requires determination, creativity, and willingness to adapt. Yes, that's correct what ChatGPT says, because if you really want to build it, you have to, man. I think honestly, I think there's only so less time frame left for you to create generational wealth, because AI literally is advancing so quickly that it'll just become so difficult for ordinary folks, to live. I think you just have to get really wealthy really quick by adding value. So that's my video here, and I'm building Zavata.ai, which is an AI interviewer that automates scheduling and hiring, making hiring faster and cheaper. Yeah, so that's what I'm building. And if you want to connect with me, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, I'm everywhere. It's harshit.eth. You'll find me. Peace.